Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
You're listening to House of Cards.
Today, the game is different.
I want to gamble. Gambling is a very serious business. Is that clear?
Welcome to House of Cards. Dave Weishuttle with you here, deep from the swamps of Jersey. We got a great show coming up for you. Working in the gaming industry, I'm always on the lookout for great websites that have a lot of important news on the gambling business. And there are two great ones put out by a guest who's been on the show several times. Adam Small has a new company called Third Planet Affiliates, and they put out two of the best websites with the latest news and information about the gambling industry and the lottery. CasinoReports.com reports on all the important gambling news out there, especially if it deals with online casinos. LotteryGeeks.com covers the world of the lottery, which has become incredibly important in the gambling industry. Coming up, Adam is going to tell us all about these incredible news sites and his new company. When we come back, we're talking Casino Reports and Lottery Geeks. So stick around. We'll be right back with House of Cards. Hey, this is Dave Weishuttle from House of Cards with your House of Cards gaming report for the week of June 17, 2024. Jackpot.com announced a deal with the Associated Press, making it the official lottery courier and provider of the AP. Jackpot.com will offer state lottery results on APnews.com via a lottery results feed, and will have the opportunity to offer ticket purchasing services through their website. Purchasing lottery online would be dependent on if it is permissible in the jurisdiction in which that customer resides. BetMakers Technology Group announced a 2-market access and content deal with Bet365 in New Jersey and Colorado. This partnership will allow the operator to offer fixed odd bets on thoroughbred horse racing to the customers of Bet365 in New Jersey. This deal also allows Bet365 to distribute BetMakers thoroughbred racing content to customers in New Jersey, and both thoroughbred and harness racing content to customers in Colorado. And finally, New Jersey has a new online casino. Jackpot City Casino launched quietly in March in the Garden State after launching in Pennsylvania in December. Jackpot City Casino operates under the Golden Nugget license and offers video poker, table games, as well as live dealer games. Have any news or tips regarding casinos, gaming, or legislation? Send us an email at newsroom@houseofcardsradio.com and follow us on X at HOC Radio.
You're listening to House of Cards.
And in Baccarat, boo, 30 carat, 7-card stud, blackjack, and craps, too. I'm just a fool for gambling.
Welcome back to House of Cards. Dave Weishuttle with you. It's great to talk to our next guest because I think he is the person that has appeared on this show the most over the years. And what's even more exciting is he has something brand new to talk about. Anyone in the gaming industry knows Adam Small, and he has two incredible new sites called Casino Reports and Lottery Geeks, and we're going to find out all about him because Adam is on the line with us right now. Adam, welcome back to the show.
It's great to be back, and I didn't realize I was your most frequent or most visited guest. But
yeah,
that's pretty cool. It's a great distinction.
Yeah, right. I think you and Sean Flaherty has been on as a show a lot, so I think he's coming up. But you're way ahead of the pack.
That's awesome,
yeah.
And it's great that Sean's been on a bunch too, because
yeah.
I really admire him a lot as well.
Yeah, I think I'll talk to him next week. So he's he's improving on his record there for this show. So, but I want to tell you,
and you know that your two most frequent guests are both West Virginia natives.
I know,
probably
I know.
Unusual.
It's just so weird. I don't know. But like I said, first off, congratulations on this new enterprise, Casino Reports and Lottery Geeks. I mean, they're just incredible sites, and they fall under your new company called Third Planet Affiliates. Now, who's involved with Third Planet? I'm sure anyone who's in the gaming industry will know some of the names that you're working with, but how did you guys form, and what was your goal for Third Planet Affiliates?
So, I've been working with a guy named Cal Spears for about 20 years now. We actually were college classmates at Vanderbilt, and we lived together in I guess we started living together around 2004 with one other roommate who, funny enough, is our lawyer now. And we started a website called Pocket Fives, which I'm sure a lot of your listeners, especially because you've got a poker audience a lot of the time,
Sure.
are familiar with. We were living together. We were playing a ton of poker, both in person, just with our friends, or going to Tunica and playing the casinos there, or we started playing online a lot because that was when online poker was really starting to blow up in 2004. And Chris Moneymaker just won the World Series of Poker, and so on. And we were playing a lot on the now defunct and sort of infamous website Ultimate Bet at the time, and they had a feature that was really cool called Ultimate Buddy that lets you sort of track other players online, and you could like kind of put all your favorite players in there, and it looked like instant messenger or something like that. But when they popped up, you could click on it and click through and see their tables and chat with them and stuff like that. So we had this idea to sort of start featuring these well-known players that everyone was following around more, and that turned into Pocket Fives. So I bring this up just to say that Cal and I have been working together a long time. We had another partner at the time, Riley Bryant, who also partnered with us on our last business and is currently the CTO of Better Collective US. So we Cal and I have both exited our last business, which included Roto Grinders and Sports Handle, US Bets, a number of other sites. We sold to Better Collective in 2019, wrapped up our earn out at the end of 2021, and I worked for a bit for Better Collective, but I left last year, and the two of us are back together, just working on our next project. It's kind of in some ways similar to what we were doing at Sports Handle, but focused on the casino and lottery spaces as opposed to sports betting. And majorly different would be that it's quite a bit less bootstrapped. We've got a lot more of our own money to put into it, and also potentially investment dollars that may come in the future. And because of that, we're able to kind of ramp it up a lot faster than we did with our last businesses, and to be more competitive in what is a much more challenging pool to swim in now than it was 5 or 6 years ago. And so that's what we're doing. Our first new hire / partner that we brought in was Brett Smiley, who was a co-founder of Sports Handle. We worked with for years, another New Jersey guy up there. Brett worked with us for a number of years. He's an amazing content leader, in that he doesn't only just produce incredible content and he's an incredible manager of people, but he also has really great business ideas around that content. He's capable of getting it in front of more people, of building relationships with other media organizations and people. He's just incredible all around guy to work with. And then soon after we hired Brett, we brought in Eric Raskin, who wrote the book, The Moneymaker Effect, back in the day, worked for us for US Bets for a number of years, and is also just a very experienced, weathered editor who was able to really take our content to the next level. So it's the four of us, along with one other partner right now, who I think your listeners would be less familiar with, and he kind of prefers to stay in the background. But really, it's a 5-man operation. We're looking into a lot of opportunities in the space, not just online casino and lottery. We've been kind of, Cal likes to call it hanging around the rim, looking for sports betting opportunities that might fall into our lap, or that, might be the kind of things that we can take on that might be harder for the big public companies to take on. And, we're just keeping ourselves in the mix and hoping to find something in the sports space. Because I think we do want to be in sports, but what we don't want to do is start a new site from scratch. I think that would just be too hard right now and take too long given the current environment. And we've just seen all kinds of other organizations fall on their face. I mean, there was a site called The Messenger that launched last year that spent $50 million in a year and then shut down. So we don't want to go do that.
Yeah.
So, I think, if someone wanted to build the Action Network today, or something like that, it would just be a very, very massive investment, and you still might not catch up to the people that are out there.
Stick around. We'll be right back with House of Cards.
The bathroom of your dreams is only a phone call away with BCI Bath & Shower. We can make your ordinary bath and shower extraordinary. This is not a cookie-cutter design. This is a complete custom build that will fit your every need. It's never been easier or more affordable than right now to get the bathroom of your dreams. We have the best monthly programs in the industry with payments as low as $99 per month or no payments, no interest for 18 months with approved credit. The hardest part of your new bathroom is gutting and building the tub and shower. If your bathing area is old, there could be damage behind the walls and possible mold and mildew, which can be a serious safety issue. At BCI, we don't cover a problem, we fix it. Call now to get a never-clean glass-treated door with the no-track system at half off for the first 50 callers. Factory-trained, certified installers made in the USA and discounts for seniors and military. Call 800-755-0466. That's 800-755-0466.
You're listening to House of Cards.
I bet you $20 I can get you gambling before the end of the day. No way. I'll give you 3-1 odds. No, 5-1. No, 10-1. You're on.
Welcome back to House of Cards. Dave Weishaupt with you. House of Cards is brought to you by BetMGM Casino. Play your favorite casino games at BetMGM Online Casino. Slots, table games, live dealer games, everything you love about Atlantic City and Vegas, all online at BetMGM. Go to BetMGM Casino, create an account using our promo code Turnpike, and become a verified player. New players get $25 free when signing up, plus a first deposit bonus up to $1,000. That's promo code Turnpike at BetMGM.com for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000 plus $25 free. Must be 21 years or older to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. For those of you just joining us, I am talking with Adam Small from CasinoReports.com and LotteryGeeks.com. I love the topics you guys hit. I mean, why do you feel that there was a need for the site that you just launched? I mean, did you feel that there was a segment of the gaming industry that was not being covered adequately, or did you find that Casino Reports and Lottery Geeks would address issues that not a lot of people in this industry are covering? Because like I said, I mean, I love the topics you're hitting.
Thanks. So for Casino Reports specifically, there are a lot of other casino news sites out there. Sure. There are, sites like Play USA that have been around for a long time and are effectively affiliate sites that run news content as well. I think that we're trying to differentiate on the quality and depth of content compared to some of these other sites. Mm-hmm. And that's not to say anything about that site or any other specifically. I think, they're doing good work, but we're trying to take it a bit deeper. And an example of that is the VIP article that we were talking about prior to to the interview, where we just published an article. Today's June 7th that we're recording. It was probably June 5th that we published it 2 or 3 days ago. And it was a very deep dive that took months to put together about the whole system of VIP treatment in sports betting and online casinos. And this is an issue that's been coming to light this year. It's a very interesting topic. There's a lawsuit going on that I'm sure lots of people know about between DraftKings and Fanatics over an executive that was poached who seemingly was brought over to primarily bring one single customer from DraftKings to Fanatics, who has shifted Fanatics market share in New Jersey from like low single digits to in the 20s, in the 20%, over 20%. In a major state like New Jersey, it's quite eye-opening that one single customer could be 20% of the total market. I mean, that just is not something that I would have believed before I heard about this. And I think it is probably a topic that a lot of people in the industry are very uncomfortable talking about or seeing media writing about. But the toothpaste is kind of out of the tube at this point. And we're committed to covering this from all angles and getting information in front of people that they want to understand better. And we're not going to do it in some kind of TMZ way where we're out there, you know, trying to say the most bombastic stuff possible and get eyeballs and have everyone gawk. We're trying to get accurate, well understood information into readable format for our visitors. And I don't think anyone else is really doing that for either casino or lottery. There's some decent sites covering these topics, but I don't think anyone is covering it at the depth that we're at least trying to.
Well, let me ask you more about Casino Reports. I'm a gaming attorney in New Jersey, and I'm about 5 minutes away from the Pennsylvania border, so I'm in that online casino sweet spot in the country. And when I'm reading Casino Reports, like you said, I find that you're covering things that I need to know about if you're involved in the gaming business. When it comes to Casino Reports, what are the other stories that people will find there? Because it's very unique, and what you report on is so incredibly important to the gaming industry on that site.
It's a wide variety, really. So, of course, we're going to cover news like if a new state is considering or has legalized online casinos and those kinds of topics, or, you know, what's going on inside regulatory bodies. That's the kind of stuff that's our bread and butter and that we're going to make sure we have high quality coverage of. But we're also going to get into some more kind of niche topics around the space. And some of them aren't directly about what's going on with casinos, but more kind of industry inside baseball kind of stuff that we think will be interesting to people who are, you know, tangential to, adjacent to the industry, or even outside the industry. One such example was last week, I believe, we published a piece about the recent Google algorithm changes and how they're affecting major sports media and affiliate companies. I think this is fascinating. I think it's something that we've seen a lot of Twitter and LinkedIn buzz about, but hadn't really seen anyone break down, at least with respect to the gaming industry. And so we tried to go as deep as we could on the matter. We got some interviews with people who had been inside some of these big affiliates that have partnered with major media organizations to put sports betting content up, and just try to understand what the deals are between those organizations, who's taking the most risk, who's getting hurt the most by these algorithmic changes. And just in case I didn't explain it, I guess, but basically you got these big affiliate companies that have partnered with companies like, NJ, what is it? NJ Advanced Media, the company that owns NJ.com, or New York Post, my former employer, Better Collective, is partnered with them. There are a whole bunch of these deals. And so you'll see websites that are, you know, major legacy newspapers coming up high in search for major search terms around our business. And that's because companies like Better Collective and Catena Media and XL Media and quite a number of others are partnering with these media organizations. And what Google is coming out and saying is this is what they're calling reputation abuse. Others call it parasite SEO, where you are effectively trying to get your content up on someone else's site to take advantage of that site's higher authority and reputation in search, and use that to rank high with affiliate content that you can monetize with sports betting and casino affiliate deals. And Google is saying they don't want this. They want sites to put up their own content, not to be letting other people effectively monetize their sites this way. And so we broke it down. It was quite a long and complicated piece, but I think the people that read it found it very interesting and learned something from it. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I learned from it was that there are companies like Catena Media and XL Media that have an overall market cap. They're public companies south of $50 million that were at times committing $10 million a year or more to a single media partner per year in these deals. And if they lose all their revenue because Google de-indexes these entire sections, they're still on the hook for $10 million a year or whatever. And I mean, if they're worth $50 million or less, they probably don't have 10 million sitting in the bank that they can just, ship to another company. Mm-hmm. So it is putting them in quite a precarious situation.
I love that article. It was a great article written by Steve Ruddick on CasinoReports.com, so everyone should check that out. It's just fascinating to see how that business works. Sticking with that, what do you see as the next step for the gambling affiliates? I mean, a lot of these affiliate marketers have made the media deals, like you said. They have employees to worry about. They have stockholders that could be affected. What do you see as the next step for the affiliate marketers? Do they find other areas for promotion? Do some even consider litigation? I mean, where do you see this headed in the near future?
Well, there could be litigation between media partners and affiliates just because affiliates might not literally be able to pay some of these debts. There could be bankruptcies even. It hasn't come to that yet, but I certainly think it's possible. But I think, bigger picture answer to what you're saying is that I kind of have a hard and fast rule as an affiliate, as someone experienced in this space. I want to create things of value. Whether it is a community, whether it's a news website, whether it's tools, everything that we create should be something that people actually want to consume. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, all these shortcuts to make money using someone else's high authority site or whatever are shortcuts, but they're temporary. These are fleeting opportunities to make money. And that doesn't mean that they weren't worth pursuing, but they're not the long-term solution to having a successful business. And what we're always trying to do is build things that are unique and valuable and that people will want to consume. And I think that when you see really smart affiliates out there, and Better Collective is certainly, the most successful in this space. Obviously, I say again, I'm at least somewhat associated. I used to work there and sold my company to them, but I admire them a lot and admire what they've done from an M&A perspective, particularly that they don't just buy up, sites that are ranking well in Google. They bought up products that are of interest, that have reach, that reach into different buckets that they're not already targeting. I thought one that they got last year, Playmaker HQ, was really, really interesting because it's got a bunch of sports related content that at times they're doing podcasts with like Shaquille O'Neal and people like that, just reaching an audience that you can't reach just by ranking well in Google. And Action Network has always been really good at that, of just creating really good tools, creating content that's unique, partnering with influencers, people with a lot of traffic and ability to push traffic. So I think if I'm an affiliate, I want to be finding more ways to do that. Mm-hmm. I want to be finding ways to create things that haven't already been created, to get into lanes that no one is really successfully driving in right now, and not just be focused on trying to rank for a few keywords and creating some site that's targeting 10 keywords. I think those days are over.
Stick around. We'll be right back with House of Cards. Sign up at jackpot.com and you can bet on the world's best lotteries where the biggest jackpots are up for grabs. Powerball, Mega Millions, some of the biggest lotteries can be found at jackpot.com. Simply choose your lotto game, pick your numbers, or use their quick pick feature, and you're done. Sign up at jackpot.com with code DRAW24 and get a free lottery ticket with your first deposit. Jackpot.com, it's the world of lotto in your hand.
Terms and conditions apply. You must be at least 18 years old and in the United States to play. Void where prohibited. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Interest rates and inflation are out of control. Is your credit card debt also out of control? It's time to resolve your debt and take back control for a lot less than what you owe. If you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt, then you need to call us right now. Debt Fix Pros can significantly reduce the amount you owe, and you could be debt-free faster than you think.
I knew we had to do something. Our debt was growing.
It was getting out of control, and we just didn't know what to do.
We saw an ad for Debt Fix Pros. We called, and they showed us how fast they could get us out of debt.
It really was amazing, and now we're back in control.
Call now, and we'll show you how easy it is to fix your debt. The call and consultation are free. Call Debt Fix Pros right now at 800-479-3522. That's 800-479-3522. 800-479-3522.
With costs going up, Adam & Eve is the best deal around. With 50% off a sexy adult product at adamandeve.com. That's 50% off right now when you point the camera on your smartphone at the code on the screen. Don't get up. Just open your camera and point it at the screen. Hurry! You'll also get 10 free gifts, including free discreet shipping at checkout. This is your chance to get more for less. So scan now for 50% off plus 10 free gifts from adamandeve.com.
If you don't have final expense life insurance, this message is for you. LifeCare provides valuable information about whole life insurance to help cover final expenses, medical bills, burial costs, and other final expenses. A final expense life insurance policy is fast and available to anyone between the ages of 50 and 80. No medical exam, no lengthy questionnaires, and no waiting period. Just answer a few questions and we'll do the rest. With the average funeral costing $9,420 and Social Security only paying $255, you need simple peace of mind for you and your whole family. Don't leave behind unpaid expenses. Your premium will never increase. Your policy will have a cash value and a death benefit that can never decrease. To find out how you can get final expense life insurance with a lifetime lock, call 800-601-9488. That's 800-601-9488.
You're listening to House of Cards.
Your Majesty, the royal wrestlers await. I'll bet on the little guy. How much? 3,000 guineas, 2 geese, and a duck. That's a foul bet.
Welcome back to House of Cards. Dave Weishuttle with you. House of Cards is brought to you by the Life Hack Pack from More Labs. Unlock your best self with the Life Hack Pack from More Labs. The Life Hack Pack contains 2 bottles of Morning Recovery, 2 bottles of Dreamwell, and 2 bottles of Liquid Focus. The Life Hack Pack is specially designed to help you live your life not just better, but smarter. Use promo code Radio15 at morelabs.com to get 15% off your first purchase of the Life Hack Pack or any of their other great products. That's promo code Radio15 to take advantage of this great promo of 15% off your first purchase at morelabs.com. You can finally do it all with help from More Labs. For those of you just joining us, I am talking with Adam Small from CasinoReports.com and LotteryGeeks.com. Well, let me ask you something. Does something like this change in Google's, procedures, do they affect the bigger affiliate marketers, or is this ripple all throughout the market? Does it affect big and small affiliate marketers the same way?
Well, it affects everyone that is engaging in reputation abuse. Mm-hmm. And that's mostly bigger affiliate companies, just because, at least to work with really high authority, high value sites like NJ.com or New York Post, you have to be able to pay them millions of dollars to get access to those kinds of deals. And so, that's not happening with some mom and pop type affiliate. for the most part, with this particular update, the companies that are getting hurt the most are publicly traded affiliates. And there are a multitude of reasons for this, but I think the biggest, the easiest to explain is that shareholders are looking for growth all the time. And these big public affiliates, in order to grow, need to keep growing the number of players that they're sending. And there are basically two ways to do that. One is through M&A, and the other is through, partnering with existing other companies to kind of together send more players. And these big publicly traded affiliates are doing both. They're doing M&A when they can. Some of them have more cash and access to cash to do that than others. But they've all engaged in it at times. And then they've also all started doing, what Google calls reputation abuse, working with established mainstream websites to publish affiliate content. And this was just like I said before, it's kind of a shortcut to getting more players and making more money for a while. And I guess making shareholders happy, or, satisfying that need for every quarter to be bigger than the last quarter. Whereas you see some like other big private affiliates, like the company that owns Casino.org, which is probably maybe the biggest affiliate company in the world. They also own Covers now. They own Sportsbook Review. They weren't doing any of these kinds of media partnerships because they don't have to. They're privately held. They don't have to, demonstrate that they're sending more players every quarter. They can grow at the pace that's comfortable for them and that makes sense and that is sustainable. And there are maybe other reasons for that as well, that they're not involved in it. But it stood out to me that it's mostly public companies.
Well, let me ask you about online casinos. I know Casino Reports really handles that market really great, and I love reading the articles on it. Do you think online casinos are the next big gambling expansion for this country? I mean, over the years, we've seen how sports betting really took off and exploded across the U.S. Online poker made some small headway, but it doesn't seem like it's catching hold very quickly across the country. Do you feel that online casinos are the next big issue if a state wants to expand its gaming industry?
Yeah, I mean, just want to riff for a second on poker, just while that came up, because I think it's relevant to this discussion. So there's a real problem with poker. There are multiple problems. There are issues with cheating and bots and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
But I think the bigger underlying problem with poker is that when you're pooling players together in a peer-to-peer gaming experience, it's complicated when it's each state regulating in its own way, and when tax revenue is being attributed based on where it's generated, but you got revenue actually being generated at a table with several players playing who you can sort of argue over how that should be attributed. Just combining state poker pools is complicated, and obviously it's been done. There are several states that are pooled together now, so it's not impossible at all. But it does make the whole issue trickier. Mm-hmm. And when you couple that on with the fact that poker just hasn't been a huge revenue generator in the U.S., and thereby legislators can't get as excited about the revenue it'll generate, it just has gone on the back burner since PASPA went down, and really was even on the back burner for a few years before that.
Plus, let me add one more thing. I'm on in my 48th hour of still trying to get verified by WSOP because you had to switch over to a new platform. So they're still looking at my paperwork and everyone's paperwork. So I'm going on 2-3 days now. So it is complicated.
Yeah, it's a pain, all of it. So coming back to online casino, it is going to expand. It's a matter of time. It might not be that in the next 2 years that you get more states, or certainly a bunch more states. Seems fairly unlikely in the next couple of years, but it is going to expand eventually because it's, for the most part, the same companies that are offering this product as the ones who are offering sports betting.
Yeah.
And they're going to be continually lobbying for this, and eventually states are going to get into a budget crunch again and need more ways to add tax revenue, and this is a great way to do it. I mean, Pennsylvania is making tons and tons of money doing this in particular, And so it is going to happen eventually. These are tried and true products. They might not be the most culturally palatable to like everybody, but enough people like them, and I think there will be less resistance to it in the future. And so we're not expecting, to be seeing huge expansion in the next year or two, but eventually for sure. And I mean, it certainly helps that there are still huge offshore casinos. There are still huge sweepstakes casinos, this other whole model that, has come out in the last several years, like Chumba Casino and others. And so the regulated operators are very, very thirsty for the cash that they could be making off this rather than it going to others. And I think the states become thirsty for that as well. And so this is an area that I think you see a lot of investment around the industry. It's not just us. We're not uniquely positioning ourselves here. You see, DraftKings having bought Golden Nugget, for example. There's a lot of buzz around someone or other buying Rush Street Interactive at some point, which is also a pretty casino savvy and casino heavy operator. You see casino tech companies getting bought up. BetMGM is extremely focused in the online casino space. And this is interesting because right now online casinos only in a few states.
Yeah.
There are really only 4 open markets. And then you've got, I think Rhode Island and Connecticut and Delaware, but they're all really like, single provider states. So you really only got 4 open markets, 3 major states, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and then West Virginia is a smaller state, my home state. And so there's a lot of room for expansion. And despite all that, online casino is approximately 1/3 of the revenue that's being generated in the U.S. iGaming market. So, sports betting is legal in like half the U.S. states, and yet it's only doing about 2 times as much revenue as online casino. So that is a remarkable fact and shows just how much upside there is in this space.
Well, to build on that, I mean, here in New Jersey, I think 99% of my mobile sports books have online casinos attached to them. I mean, I think there are more online casino television commercials than there are sports betting commercials in this state. I mean, and every Saturday morning also on television, DraftKings has their online casino report. So that's it's being more promoted more in New Jersey than sports betting is. It looks like. And I got to bring up a frequent guest on the show, Sean Flaherty, who I guess this is a tribute to West Virginia show. So who's a delegate from West Virginia and is also president of the National Council of Legislators from Gaming States. West Virginia has online casinos. Jersey has online casinos. We always joke, I mean, what are we doing wrong that no other state wants to make all this money? Or, Sean always says it's not a blue issue. It's not a red issue. It should be a green issue, which means, the color of cash. But do you see lawmakers starting to come around and see that, maybe online casinos can really be a help to their economy or their states, or is there some convincing that needs to be done?
I think that everyone gets that there's money in it. And I think that that's, one of several things that people are thinking about when they're thinking about legalizing this. I think there's a very legitimate concern around social harm. And similarly, there's this concern in sports betting, and you're starting to see more and more scandals pop up, which was not surprising, but, is concerning for the industry, whether they're problem gambling related or related to athletes betting on their sports or things like that. You are starting to see some negative press over the last year or so around sports betting, quite a bit more than before. And I think that doesn't help when you're going out and saying, hey, we should expand to even more forms of online gambling. But I think another big issue is just that the sports teams and leagues were in the end becoming allies of sports betting expansion and seeing revenue in it for themselves and starting to make the positive points around it that, hey, it would be better to have this legal than offshore. Online casino is a bit more in the background and something people are less willing to kind of, stand in front of. And so it is a little bit harder to get traction even when there is money in it. And it's probably a big component of why this is taking so long. I also think that there is just this legit risk, as I said before, of social harm that hasn't been fully addressed in sports betting yet, and is worse for online casino. And it's something that I think when we're a little more established in terms of understanding how to mitigate problem gambling in the US, particularly as it pertains to online sports betting and online gambling, that we'll be able to kind of heat off some of those concerns that legislators and activists have in a lot of these states. And one example I always point to that has interested me for a long time is the state of Illinois has had video gaming terminals, VGTs, for a number of years. Are you familiar with that, Dave?
Yep.
So for people who aren't, if you're ever in a gas station, particularly when you're driving through kind of the country on your way from one place to another, and you'll see kind of in the back corner of some gas station a slot machine or a video poker machine or something like that, that's a VGT. And about 10 years ago in Illinois, there was a massive expansion of VGTs, and the expansion made a handful of people, by the way, mostly out-of-state people, quite a lot of money. But there wasn't a mitigation of potential social harms built into that whole system, or certainly not one that was sufficient to address what can happen with those. And this is not unique to Illinois. This has been going on in the UK forever, where they have these little machines you can bet on in inside of like a betting shop. You go into a William Hill to make a bet, and then you end up sitting there playing video poker and losing a bunch of your money. And it's not that these machines in themselves are a problem. It's that there are responsible gambling issues. There's KYC type of stuff that needs to happen around gambling, and wasn't happening and isn't happening sufficiently in a place like Illinois. And when you want to do a big gambling expansion, and then it's followed by a bunch of truck drivers losing all the money they made that week, and that being kind of the central story around it over and over and over again, it's hard to come back later and say, let's do another gambling expansion. And it's very disheartening that, short-term greed and sort of a lack of foresight and planning can lead to such an issue. But that is what it is. In Illinois, there's a lot of, pain around that recent memory of this happening. And it's not just a memory, it's an ongoing issue. Right. So, I think just to, put a cap on it, like the understanding and planning around the potential and inevitable social harms that do result from gambling is a necessary part of gambling expansion. And when it happens properly, most of these harms can be heated off. There's always going to be some issues, but as long as they're properly prepared to deal with them, damage can be somewhat reduced. But when it's not addressed ahead of time, it can be pretty disastrous.
Stick around. We'll be right back with House of Cards.
Attention. If you owe back taxes to the IRS, watch this urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by hiring 87,000 new agents to garnish your paycheck and put liens on homes and businesses. They can even seize your bank account. The IRS calls it enforced compliance, and now they have the manpower to get you. Penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily. So call One Stop Tax Relief Shop and get the IRS off your back. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks the IRS has ever offered. And no other tax shop gets you more or faster approvals. One Stop Tax Relief has resolved thousands of cases since 2014 and saved clients millions of dollars. Call now for a free consultation. Connect with tax professionals who get the IRS off your back.
Call 800-605-0688. 800-605-0688.
One Stop Tax Relief Shop.
You're listening to House of Cards. Check out our website at houseofcardsradio.com.
Welcome back to House of Cards. Dave Weishuttle with you. For those of you just joining us, I am talking with Adam Small from CasinoReports.com and LotteryGeeks.com. I want to ask you about another site that you're involved with, and that one's called Lottery Geeks. It's actually a website that covers something that I think has become a very important part of the gaming industry in this country, and that is the lottery. I mean, we even do a show called Beating the House that has lottery jackpots in it. When it comes to lottery, what are some of the issues that are reported on for LotteryGeeks.com?
This is a newer space for us, right? I mean, I was a lot less familiar with the lottery getting into this.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's kind of ubiquitous. You grow up, seeing it everywhere. And I remember going to the supermarket as a kid and seeing scratch-off tickets and being interested in them generally. But it's not an area that's deeply understood by a lot of people in our industry. I feel like I've been going to G2E forever, or SBC type conferences, and yet I couldn't remember meeting too many lottery people ever over the years. And it's funny, I went to a lottery conference recently in Fort Lauderdale. I live down in South Florida now, and I found out this conference was happening, and it was like a half hour from my house, and like, okay, sure, why not? I'll go. And I mean, I think the average age of people at this thing was like 75 years old. I mean, it's just, it's a much stuffier kind of long-time government people type space, a lot of state directors and people like that. And then you have companies like Jackpocket that are much younger and more nimble and more similar to kind of a type of people we're used to dealing with. So it's a mix, but I think it's more skewed towards those older, stuffier, public servant-ish type people. And so we've been kind of building out our network there and getting to know the space a bit better. And I think it's really interesting. I think it's a project that we weren't sure exactly what we were getting into going in, but that we're pretty excited about now. And part of it is, just covering results and things like that a lot of sites cover, just, having a database of winning numbers and stuff like that so people can search those kinds of things. But some of it is covering news around the space. And one piece of news that we broke recently that I thought was pretty interesting and fascinating, that we were the first people to report on this, was that the Mega Millions was going up in price from $2 per ticket to $5 per ticket. Yeah. That's not a like a minor price change. That's a 150% price increase, right? And there's got to be a story behind that, right? Like why are they going from $2, which seems fairly in line with them costing, as I recall, $1 when I was a kid to get a ticket. I mean, $2 25 years later makes sense, to $5, which really makes it almost kind of like a premium product, especially if you're buying, you're going buying 10, 20 tickets, you're spending a decent amount of money on that. And just the idea that, there's a bunch of people in whatever room in whatever state from various states that promote the Mega Millions that had made this decision and probably spent some number of years, I assume, going back and forth on it. Very, very interesting to me. And we got behind the scenes on that one a little bit and found out more about it. And that's the kind of stuff that we're trying to get, similar to Casino Reports, just find these stories that are hard to find, that haven't been well covered, and getting them out there in a way that's going to be interesting to people.
This whole lottery thing is amazing to me. I mean, I interviewed a guy who wrote a book on the history of the lottery, and he documented that lotteries are mentioned in the Bible. So I know they've been around for a long time, but I got to tell you, over the last couple of years, it seems like the lottery has really blown up in popularity. I've been doing this show since 2007, and we have never had as many state lotteries advertising with us. I'm not complaining, but it's mind-blowing to me. I mean, we constantly get emails from PR companies who are representing lotteries telling us all the new and exciting things that are happening in lottery, and it's just absolutely amazing to me. I mean, even Nevada, who's never had a state lottery, which blows my mind, because they were worried about interfering with the casino business, are considering implementing a state lottery. I guess my question to you is, what happened over the last couple of years that made lottery so important to the gaming industry? I mean, is it just because you can buy it online? Is that what happened, or what's going on with the lottery?
I think it's a mix of things, right? I mean, one is definitely technological advance, because everyone in the lottery business is 100 years old and it's been doing it forever. I think it has failed in a lot of ways to advance in the way that the online casino or online sports betting industries have, because of the sort of insularity of the space and inability to consider and let in new ideas. And a lot of that has to do with just being run by governments in general, right? Like, I mean, I remember my sister was working for the government 7-8 years ago and still had a BlackBerry, which, I mean, probably most people now barely remember what a BlackBerry is, you know? But like, I mean, that was, you know, well into the iPhone and Android era, and nobody had a BlackBerry anymore except for like everyone who worked for the federal government did. So I think it's just, you know, a testament to how slow governments can move compared to others because of all the various approvals and political considerations and so on. And because of that, it has taken a long time for new technology to make its way into lottery. And big kind of props to particularly Jackpocket, but also others in that space that have kind of broken through that, figured out interesting ideas for technological advance in the space, and then put those to action despite all the hard work and, you know, the challenges around like legal and regulatory and so on, have sort of trudged their way through and become relevant players in the space. And it's not just them. There are other companies, game providers, and so on. I'm very interested in a particular company, EQL Games, run by a guy named Brad Cummings up in Louisville. They've done some fantastic work around game creation as well, and have gotten really well connected in the space. And they've been on the grind for like 10 years, maybe more. It's not like a simple or easy process to get established in this space, but people have kept at it because they believe in the potential. And I do think you're correct that in the last couple of years, there's been a bit of a watershed where finally some of these companies have really broken through, started to get some big contracts, started to, make big splashes. I think the most notable thing that everyone has seen was DraftKings buying Jackpocket for $750 million, which is an eye-opening sum, right, for a lot of people.
Incredible.
But there's going to be more of this. There are going to be more of these companies that are, whether they're game creators for instant lotteries, like if you're in Pennsylvania, you can play these games online that are effectively casino games on the lottery website.
Yeah.
They certainly seem like it when you're playing. You hit a button and then you're playing a game for a minute and then you've lost your money or won occasionally, and and then you hit the button again and play. I mean, it's like playing a slot of sorts, right? And so the people that are able to create better and better games that are more effective at user engagement and so on, whoever creates the divine fortune of online lottery is going to do very well. And so, I mean, that's the space I expect to grow. Just these types of companies that are game creators, like the IGT type companies, but the more boutique, smaller ones, there are going to be more and more of those in the lottery space as iLotteries continue to open up. And it's great. I mean, it's good to have more competition. Lotteries obviously are really big revenue generators for the states themselves. There's more transparency around, where the money is coming from and where it's going. And I think it's generally probably a good development for our space, even though it does create some awkwardness as there is like some overlap particularly in a state like Pennsylvania where you have iLottery, and Michigan as well.
Mm-hmm.
You have these like robust iLotteries and you have an online casino market, and the games are kind of the same thing. So I do think they're going to have to sort that out at some point.
I have one personal lottery story that, we have a online lottery where you can buy tickets, and I won't say it because, this is my one complaint about them. I bought a ticket, so I wanted to try it. I bought a ticket for that big Powerball. I think it was $1.3 billion. I wake up the next morning and I get an email, you won the Powerball. I won $4. I won $4. I matched the Powerball. So,
nice.
Okay. But that was my one complaint. Everything else is great with them. But I got to ask you, what are some of the big stories we should be looking out for in the gambling industry, especially when it comes to online casinos or casinos and the lottery? I mean, do you think more states will allow online casinos? Certainly not in 2024, but possibly in 2025. I mean, do you think Nevada and Alabama will jump on the lottery bandwagon and legalize the state lottery? I mean, what should we be looking forward to in the near future, and what kind of stories do you think you'll be covering in the coming months?
Well, I've learned that I'm a notoriously bad predictor of these sorts of things. So I try not to go out and say, I think, this many states or these states will legalize, because those predictions are a dime a dozen, and I don't think I'd be willing to bet my own money on them. So I'd rather not make them. But I will say, just generally speaking, that I think for online casino, it's going to be more of a trickle than a flow, I guess. And it may not, like you said, probably not going to happen at all this year. May not happen at all next year either, although it certainly could. It's just very hard to predict, but I don't think it's going to be like sports betting where all of a sudden 20 states do it in 2 years or whatever. I just think it's going to take longer for this to be accepted and to make its way through these state legislatures. It's not going to be a rush to be ahead of everybody else or whatever. And it's probably going to be really tough on the tax rates and fees, the way Pennsylvania is, notoriously 54% slot tax and pretty high tax rates on other online gambling as well. I think you're going to see more of that as they don't have to, these states don't have to like curry favor with the operators to make this market happen. They know that the operators are dying for this, and they're going to milk every dollar out of it they can. So I think you're going to see more states like Pennsylvania come in with heavy tax rates. And as far as stories that we're going to be covering, we're looking for everything interesting happening around the industry, not just happening around the industry, not just online casino related, but anything. We did the story about the Google updates. We did the story about VIP programs, which is largely focused on sports, but also casino. We're just looking for interesting industry stories. And we're going to keep our eyes out there for that. We've got really good sources, excellent journalists. We're going to be expanding our team and producing even more. And I think it's going to be really interesting to follow these two sites, and that's the reason I'm in it, because I think we're doing something that's going to be of interest to a lot of people.
Adam, we're running out of time, but can you give out the websites for Casino Reports and Lottery Geek so people can check them out, because they are both outstanding sites with a ton of information?
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for allowing me to plug. It's casinoreports.com and lotterygeeks.com with an S at the end, both with an S at the end. We're actually going to be putting up the new version of both sites here in the next couple months sometime. So they're already nice looking sites, but they'll be much improved when the next versions come out. And we're working on some excellent new features for both outside of the kind of news content. So keep your eyes out, check out what we're doing. And I think if you're interested in the industry, you'll be interested in what we're doing.
Adam Small from CasinoReports.com and LotteryGeeks.com. Thanks so much for coming on and telling us about your great new sites. They are packed with information about the casino and lottery world. And I want to congratulate you for launching them, because they have stories and reporting you're not going to see anywhere else. Please come back on and keep us updated about what's happening in the casino and lottery world. Thank you so much for your time, and it's great to have you back on.
Yeah, great to be here. Thanks so much, Dave. It's awesome.
Well, that'll do it for us this week. We'll see you next time with House of Cards.
Drag a spiral chain across the desert plain. You build a house of cards.